how to not give a shit about what anyone thinks about you. Now, I'm not saying that I could just walk up to anyone and say anything or do anything. I would still get an adrenaline response, I would still get nervousness and thoughts in the mind. However, there is a way to make this a whole lot easier. Now, what you got to realize is that sense of self in your thinking, that character in the story for which there will be consequences if you act or behave in a certain way, is illusory, is false. That is a mind made self. That is a thought based image. You identify with it, you take it seriously. If I do this, then this, and then this, and then adrenaline, fear response, and of course you're backing out. But if you can see the thoughts and step back, zoom out, know yourself as the awareness or the spaciousness within which the thoughts arise, and see that that sense of self isn't you, it's a mind-made illusion. Now, as you rest in that deeper self, or the isness, or the presence, or the stillness, whatever you want to call it, your rationality will arise from there. In that you'll be able to access that rational part of you that can look at the situation and go, okay, I might get rejected, someone might look at me funny, someone might think something of me, but the consequences aren't going to be death, or very unlikely to be anyway, and yet my body is reacting like it's going to be. You recognize that that's the mind-made image. You step back and you see that as you rest in that stillness, in that spaciousness, in that awareness of your deeper self, that self-consciousness starts to drop away. The identification to that mind-made image starts to drop away. You start to see what's here and what is, as opposed to being focused down onto that thought narrative in the mind that tells a story about what's going to happen if you do something, which quite often isn't even going to be true. Quite often it's overly fearful, in the sense of, well, it's fearful to begin with, but in the sense of the consequences you imagine are usually a lot worse than they actually would be. So there can even be patterns in which you're people pleasing, or not being direct with someone, not being straight with someone, not drawing healthy boundaries. And that's actually now dysfunctional. These were patterns that perhaps you played out in your childhood in order to survive, in order to feel like you were going to get love and not get abandoned. And yet these patterns play out in adulthood, rather, and now they're dysfunctional. Now they're definitely dysfunctional. So those thoughts are on behalf of that anxious energy, that trauma energy in the body. And the presence of those thoughts are going to lessen the more you dissolve the tensions and contractions in the body, or that they dissolve, rather than you being this heavy doer that can do it. So how to stop giving a fuck about what people think of you? Zoom out from that mind image. be with the feeling. Feel the adrenaline response when you approach the situation that usually triggers you and usually has you back down. Approach it as your deeper self, as this aware spaciousness. Feel the feeling, feel the sensations. Just be with those raw sensations that are triggered, because embracing them in awareness is what has them dissolve. Hope this video helped. Peace.